Welcome everybody, welcome, and this is going to be a super amazing session for each one of you who is waiting for your NEET 2021 examination on September 12th. So today we are going to discuss about the do or die topics of biology, chapter wise, topic wise. What are those topics which you must pay attention when you are studying a topic or a chapter in biology? Yes, so let's get into that and let us discuss one by one and each chapter and topics in detail. So this is my handwritten slide, so take to that. Okay, so from living world, when we are coming on to the chapter living world, you have to study the characteristic features, the taxonomical aids and binomial nomenclature. That is characteristic features like kingdom, phylum, class, order, all those KPC of GS. Okay, and you have to go with the binomial nomenclature part of coordinates, which is several times repeated previous year question, taxonomical aids. So from this topic, you will definitely get one question for your NEET 2021. Okay, so chapter 1, living world, is that much. Moving on to the chapter number 2, biological classification. You have to study the initial part, that is the different type of classification. 5 kingdom system of classification, 2 kingdom, then binomial nomenclature, then artificial system of classification, natural system of classification, phylogenetic system of classification, then about what were the other things mentioned over there. So you have to sit with your NCERT in this class, because then only you can mark it along with me which all are the important topic from which the previous year questions have come upon. Okay, the 5 different, a table is there in page number 17. I'm telling it in the order of my old NCERT in my hand. So you must follow the new NCERT table 2.1 of biological classification, and the whole table is very important. Then what are the criteria that he used? How many were eukaryotes? How many were prokaryotes? So everything is very important. So that's all about the 5 kingdom classification. Then you have to study kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista, kingdom fungi, Plantae and Animalia. Plantae and Animalia, there is not too much in them. Your questions would directly be concentrated. We'll be getting 2 to 3 questions from this chapter. One would be from the Monera part for sure. Okay, 2 questions are sure from this chapter, but one, it depends, okay, upon the weightage and things. Okay, so one question would definitely from the Monera. Other questions will be from fungus or from virus, viroids. So from the kingdom Monera and virus, viroids, you will get a question. Okay, virus, viroids or kingdom fungi, kingdom Protista as well is very important. Okay, so that marks the end of the chapter biological classification. And one more thing to tell you, whenever you are taking the topic of virus and viroids, make sure you download the new NCERT from the Google and refer to the virus and viroids, because there are a lot of mistakes in the name of the scientist in the old edition of NCERT. Okay, in the new NCERT, there is no name of Louis Pasteur for anything over there. So see to that everything you must be very carefully attended. Okay, you must carefully download the new NCERT edition and then you study the topic of virus and viroids. Clear? Yes. One second. Okay. Next, we are moving on to the chapter of plant kingdom. Next, we are moving on to the chapter of plant kingdom. In that chapter, the most important table is the algae table. Okay, the table of the algae, that is chlorophyceae, rhodophyceae, 3.1, I think. 1 second. 3.1. Table 3.1 is very important. Okay, so from that table, you will be able to answer all the questions coming from the one part of the chapter. The next would be the life cycle. This is a frequently repeated question for the past years, but right now, for the past few years, 2 to 3 years, we are not finding this life cycle being asked in the question paper. So there is a very high chance of this life cycle being asked in today's or this time's examination. They'll ask you ectocarpus show, haplodiplontic, diplontic, haplontic life cycle, whichever is the answer, you have to mark it down. Okay, so such kinds of question can come. Bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms and all, frequently they won't ask you any question, but in between certain years they'll ask. I'm telling you, do or die topic. Without studying these topics, you should never step into the examination hall. Okay, not telling you that you must study this only. By studying this, you will be able to score 350 plus mark. Okay, the rest of the chapters, if you have time, you have to go through the rest part of the chapters as well. Okay, then coming to the animal kingdom, you have to study the basics of classification. That is, what are the criteria, where is a lot of examples, where is radial symmetry, where is bilateral symmetry, where is notochord found, classification, where is metamerism found. Metamerism, very important question. Coelomates, eucoelomates, pseudo-coelomates exception, very important. So those come under the basics of classification. Then you have to study, not necessary of studying each and every characteristic, like there are coelomates, like this, no need to study each and everything that you're studying in the topic of basics, right? When it comes to each phylum, the only thing which you have to study is to identify the specific phylum by a special character, because in the question they will give you muscular pharynx is their important characteristic. So at the instant when you see the term muscular pharynx, ash helminthus is the phylum that should be coming to your mind. Presence of radula as the rasping organ, directly the term mollusca should come into your mind. So that is a specific character of each phylum. Then you have to study the examples, which is a frequently repeated question from this chapter. Okay, match the following question are very common last year. So this year also there are chances for DBQ also to come from that. Okay, diagram based question can also come from this chapter. And when you're studying the example, it's not simply, or it will be very silly or a blunder to just simply go through the names of the examples only. You have to study the common name as well as the scientific term. Okay. Okay, common term and scientific term is very important. For example, you have to study Apis indica, honeybee, then Ferritima postuma, earthworm, Hiridinaria, blood-sucking leech, like this. Physalia, Portuguese man of war, sea pen, sea fan, what all are these? Then bath sponge, freshwater sponge, skyfa, all those things, what are those? You have to study each of them taken into consideration, because you will definitely get a single question plus 4 marks from studying the examples of animal kingdom. So living world is over, biological is over, plant kingdom is over, animal kingdom is over. Now coming on to the 5th chapter, that is a morphology of flowering plants. You will have to study all the examples. All the examples of that chapter is very, very important. Estivation, placentation and all is very important. Estivation, placentation, okay? Then modifications of the root, stem, leaves, everything very important, okay? Basipetal succession, acropetal succession, very important. You will definitely get 4 questions from morphology. Okay, you will get 4 questions from morphology. So that is very important and not a silly thing. You have to study all the table, all the formula sheets and all the diagrams mentioned in the chapter morphology of flowering plants. Especially when you are moving through that chapter, you have to study what? You have to study what? You have to study placentation diagram. This year, I'm expecting a match the following question from either this placentation or from estivation diagram. One question will definitely, by studying these 2 topics, this is a separate do or die topic. One question would be definite or sure if you study placentation and estivation. Plus 4 marks if you study and go this one only. Okay, either placentation or estivation would definitely being asked. Then coming on to the plant families, I have given you the tricks to remember the examples of plant families, how to remember the floral diagram and floral formula also I have shown you. Fabaceae 1, Solanaceae 2 and Liliaceae 3. What is it? Gynoecium number. If they are giving you the floral formula and asking you to identify, certain exams will directly give you the family name itself. But in certain exam, they will give you the examples. They'll give you a floral formula and would be asking which of them corresponds to the above given floral formula. Then you'll be giving some example, Gloriosa, Lupin, like that. They will be giving certain examples. Coming on to the chapter, anatomy of flowering plants. Anatomy of flowering plants, which is one of a very tough chapter for everybody. One question would definitely come from the simple permanent tissue or complex permanent tissue. One question for sure. One question would be from identifying feature, root, stem and leaf. Last 2020 NEET, one question was from that part. Okay, identifying feature. One question was from simple permanent tissue and secondary growth. Also one question came. So just imagine 4 questions from morphology of flowering plants, 3 questions from anatomy of flowering plants. Just simply 2 chapters, you will be able to score a very good marks. So simple permanent tissue about collenchyma, where is it located? What are the characteristics? Parenchyma, then sclerenchyma, xylem, where are all xylem present? Companion cells, sieve cells, sieve tubes, vessels, where is it found? What is the characteristic of gymnosperms? What is angiosperm? Everything you have to study from simple permanent and complex permanent tissue. Next, identifying feature. They'll be giving you the pith is scattered, the pith is very small, 4 to 6 vascular bundles are scattered. Okay, they'll be giving you like this: parenchymatous vascular bundle, stele is present, endodermis is surrounded by that. They'll be giving you certain identifiable features and you will be asked you to write that. 2020 paper, if you can check it, you will definitely find this out. Clear? Moving on to the next one, that is animal tissue, that is structural organization in animals and cockroach. I can give you guarantee that one question from animal tissues and one question from cockroach will definitely be there. Okay, 1 or 2 questions would be there from cockroach. Last year there was one, and that was a very simple and a direct NCERT statement. Head of the, why does the cockroach live for a long time, live for a week without having head? Because the nervous system is scattered around their body. You have to identify from the textbook. This is your homework I'm giving you. Go to the textbook, then find out whether is it in the dorsal or on the ventral side. Maximum nervous system is find out. That was a trick hidden in the question. So one question would be asked to you from epithelial or from connective tissue. Chances for epithelial tissue only. Okay, chance for this year is from epithelial tissue. Then the entire about the morphology and anatomy of cockroach. Either they will focus only on anatomy or they will focus on morphology. That is from the tergites, sternites, sclerites, everything, mouth parts, labium, labra, hypopharynx, all those things they will. Or else they'll move on to crop, gizzard, phallic gland, where is the testis located, between which all segments, ovaries located, how many utikas are present, what type of metamorphosis is happening for them. All those things can come for your exam from that area. Next chapter, moving on to the cell, the unit of life. From that overview of the cell, RBCs with shaped page number. I'll tell you the page number for that chapter or the diagram. It is a long table full of diagram. That is page number 8.1. Sorry, page number 127, 8.1 diagram. Red blood cells, round and biconcave. White blood cells, amoeboid. Columnar epithelial cells, long and narrow. Nerve cells, branched and long. Truncated, elongated, mesophyll, round and oval. Very important. One question will definitely come. Prokaryote, important about mesosome, plasma membrane. What are the components? Everything important regarding the prokaryotic cell. Then about the eukaryotic cell, any one of the 1 or 2 organelle would be asked, or else they'll take 4 different organelle, 4 different function, put it in as a single question and they'll ask you. Okay, and the type of chromosome, that is submetacentric chromosome, which is I-shaped, which is J-shaped, which is L-shaped, like that they'll ask you, which is V-shaped, depending upon the presence of the centromere. Clear? So depending then the nucleus, nucleolus, everything, structure of centriole, 9+2, 9+0, everything important. Clear? Next, let's move on to the next chapter, that is the biomolecules. Okay, I don't want to waste a lot of time in you watching this session. That's why I'm taking a bit fast. Okay, whenever you're taking a chapter for revision, you can again rewind this and you can see to that which is important. So talking about biomolecule, question is going to come from enzymes, from secondary metabolites. A table is there, or from micro or macronutrients, from the protein, amino acid. That one page full of diagram, right? Page number 145, 9.1, diagram 9.1. A page full of diagram. One question. My chance or my prediction is that you will be asking a question from either palmitic acid. Structure of palmitic acid will be given and you will be asked to identify, or phospholipid lecithin would be asked to you. Either of the two will be asked to you. That's my opinion, because last year they have asked you about the what? Basic amino acid. Okay. And secondary metabolites, a single table is there. Table number 9.3 in page number 146. Table number 9.3 in page number 146. Okay, macro and micronutrients. Next is the cell cycle and cell division. You only, without even I just speaking upon that, you know what is it. One question from cell cycle, either from S, G1 or G2 phase. One question is going to come from meiosis 1, Prophase 1 phase itself. I'm telling you the question itself. This year you will be asked to identify, match the following question is expected from that chapters. Then only they can include, because options are even included. So in order to test you, match the following will be very tricky, right? Because they can include different topics under a single question. That is, suppose if one teacher is telling they have to ask where is synapses taking place for this year. One another is telling like they have to ask where is crossing over happening. One other, where does terminalization of chiasmata happening. Finally, they come to a conclusion. They'll post all those things as a single column question as a match the following. Okay, so that depends. So cell cycle and cell division, meiosis, prophase 1, very important. Next, moving on to the plant physiology unit, very important, 14% weightage. Transport in plants about the osmosis, plasmolysis, endosmosis, exosmosis. Then water potential, the water potential of pure water. DPD, OP, everything very important. Transpiration and root pressure, very important. Okay, those topics which you have to study from the chapter of transport in plants. Next is mineral nutrition. From mineral nutrition, one question from the mineral, the function of the different elements like boron, nitrogen, iron. Then last year question was like iron was absorbed in which form? Ferric or ferrous form. Both ferric or ferrous, none of the above. That was a question. So that's also very important. Okay, that is a question. That is a question from mineral nutrition. And one question is going to come from nitrogen fixation. Okay, nitrogen fixation, nitrogenous enzyme, then transamination, all those things. Alpha ketoglutaric acid. Clear? So one question you can expect from those areas. Next, coming on to one of the most important and my favorite chapter, that is a photosynthesis in flowering plants or photosynthesis in higher plants. One question, C3, C4 cycle, or from the early experiments, factors, photorespiration, pigments, very important. One or two questions maximum can come mainly from C3, C4 cycle. Just whenever you take the chapter photosynthesis, refer the early experiments. Who proposed what? Oxygen is coming from. Oxygen evolved is coming from water. Who proposed that? So name of the scientist. Which all are the major pigments? What is the primary carbon dioxide acceptor in each cycle? Cyclic and non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Then come to C3, C4 cycle. And finally, photorespiration and factors. Blackman's law of limiting factors. Simply questions come. Law of limiting factors was proposed by. So they can ask you such silly questions even for the NEET examination. Coming on to the chapter that is respiration in plants. Respiration in plants, glycolysis is important, Krebs cycle is important. This topic is very important. What complex 3 is what? Complex 4 facilitates the transport of electron from dash to dash. So when you read the question or when you read the textbook, you'll find it out. Electron flow in ETS, electron transport system, very important. Respiratory quotient is going to be one of the questions for this year. That is tripalmitin, what is it? For protein, what is it? Fatty acids, what is it? Carbohydrate RQ value is what? Okay, oxygen and carbon dioxide ratio, right? So respiration in plants questions are going to be one question, my expectation from respiratory quotient. Other would be my expectation is from the electron flow. They'll be asking you complex 3 is from everything. They'll ask not the direct, simple, prominent questions only. Something they'll go with the inside, right? So complex 3 is what, complex 4 is what, and all. They'll expecting the questions like that. I'll tell you the page number for that anyway. Don't worry. 233, page number 233. You will see this electron flow. Read the whole paragraph. Clear? Next, coming on to a very easy and a simple chapter, that is the plan, growth and development. Plan, growth and development. PGR function. Without any doubt, we are sure, right? One question from auxin, cytokinin, gibberellin, abscisic acid and ethylene. One hormone, one function or its derivatives will be studied in derivatives. Then different types of gaseous hormone. Then stress hormone is what? What is the antagonistic to stress hormone? Every type of question can come. Vernalization and photoperiod, chances of question is there. Clear? Coming to human physiology, digestion and absorption. Digestion and absorption, dental formula important. Enzymes. Which all enzymes are found in the pancreatic juice? What all enzymes are found in the intestinal juice? What is its function? Where is pepsin acting? Where is trypsin acting? What are the disorders? from each human physiology for the next 6 to 7 chapters of human physiology. If you look at my slide as well, you will see this very prominent. Okay, you will see this very prominent. That is this topic. Clear? Because this is very important. Disorder. Look, breathing and exchange of gases. Disorder. Very important. Clear? That's why I'm telling you again and again to study those. Okay. Breathing and exchange of gases, respiratory volumes and capacity, transport of oxygen and carbon dioxide, and disorders. Occupational respiratory disorder, asthma, proliferation of bronchi and bronchioles. Then damage to the walls of the alveoli, emphysema, important topic. Okay, so disorders, very important. Here also disorders, very important. I'll take all the disorders in our textbook as a single session very soon. Okay. Respiratory volumes and capacity, definitely one question is either they will give you what the volume and will be asked to identify to what it is, 500 ml tidal volume. Like that, they will ask you to identify, or they will be asking you to write. Residual volume is the combination of. Okay, it depends upon the preparer. Body fluids and circulation, blood group. Then WBC, which is most abundant. Neutrophils are the most abundant, basophils are the least. Then the count, lifespan of everything, mostly RBC and WBC is very important. ECG, P wave represents depolarization of the atria. QRS, depolarization of the ventricle. Then T wave, repolarization of the ventricle, very important. Cardiac cycle, joint diastole, atrial systole, atrial diastole, very important. Disorders, guys, the disorders of the circulatory system is very important. That is angina pectoris. Compared to angina pectoris, hypertension, atherosclerosis, coronary artery disease, everything. The most important is that heart failure, cardiac arrest, heart attack. Three of them seems to be similar, but each having different condition. Heart failure, heart attack, cardiac arrest. Three are different diseases. Next, coming on to the topic of excretory products and elimination, counter current mechanism is important. This topic is very important. Okay, in which area is electrolytes, 70% of the electrolytes and water are absorbed in which area? PCT. Okay, what is the function of ADH? All those things are very important. So absorption, where is it happening? Each substance, where is it absorbed? Very important. Make a flowchart and study disorders, not repeating again and again, very important. What are the hormone? Angiotensinogen, renin, all those things very important. And what are the mechanism of counter current mechanism? That is the ascending limb is permeable to what? The descending limb is permeable to what? Very important. Coming on to locomotion and movement, the guaranteed question that I can give you, one question from the joints, another question is from the bones. Okay, most probably instead of asking from the bones, because bones and all everybody will study and by heart. The joints often get confused. Where is saddle joint? The joint present between atlas and axis, humerus and radius and ulna. Like that, they'll ask you. Tarsals and metatarsals, carpals and metacarpals. What is it present in the phalanges? Everything, whatever 5 different joints are mentioned in your NCERT, those 5 should be perfectly fine and clear, and all the previous year related with that also must be by heart. Another question is expected from the muscle contraction of the sarcomere. What is happening to the H band? What is actin? What is myosin? What is HMM? What is LMM? Then which all ions play important role in muscle contraction, and what happens to A band? What happens to HS on? What happens to I band? What happens to Z line? Whether is it increasing, remaining constant, or whatever? That depends. You have to study that, and then finally is the disorder. Neural control and coordination. One point that I failed to include over here, that is conduction of nerve impulse. Okay, conduction of nerve impulse is an important topic. How many Na plus ions are pumped inside? How many K plus are pumped outside? Resting potential, polarization, depolarization, important. Human brain, very important. Which what is it? Cerebrospinal fluid, corpus callosum, meninges. What is its order of meninges from inside to outside? Outside to inside, very important. Types of neuron, unipolar, bipolar, multipolar neuron, which is found in the retina, which is found in the embryonic stage. Very important. Then the eye, one structure, and a question will come here also. Where is organ of Corti located? Which membrane? Is it in the tectorial membrane, basilar membrane, resinous membrane, or where is it located? That's the question. What is cochlea? What is organ of Corti? Everything you have to study. Finally, coming into the last and final chapter of class 11, that is the endocrine system. One or two questions, definitely. One, from what type of hormone is it? Is it derived from protein? Is it an amino acid derived, or is it a steroid? Is it iodine derivative or whatever? Endocrine gland plus a hormone deficiency disorder, mechanism of hormone action, whether there is a generation of secondary messengers like cyclic ANP, IP3 or whatever that you have to study. Okay, endocrine glands and their hormones, disorders, mechanism. Okay, can we start with the class 12th portions? Yes, everyone. Yes, moving on to the class 12 portion. First one is a reproduction. Reproduction in organism means, I think red color would be best for you because that will be easily identified. Reproduction in organism, the only thing which you have to focus on is the asexual mode of reproduction, especially vegetative propagules. Sexual reproduction in flowering plants, microsporogenesis, megasporogenesis, ploidy of new cells, MMC, PMC, synergid, antipodal, egg, ovum, polar nucleus, secondary cell. Everything important. Embryo sac and double fertilization, pollination, autogamy, cleistogamy, casmogamy, xenogamy. Okay. And apomixis and polyembryony. That is in citrus, it is due to nucellar. Polyembryony, or is it from some other parts? Embryo developing, how is it developing? Everything important. This human reproduction is an unpredictable chapter. Okay. Nobody can predict what or from which area are they going to ask you this question. Unpredictable. But from the previous year trends, male and female reproductive system, there can be questions. Menstrual cycle question, preparing favorite area. Development, at which time is eyes forming, show first movement, hair is forming, limbs and digits formed at which. So that can be a question. We're not sure at which stage is it attaching to the embryo, that is attaching to the uterus. What is tropoectoderm? What is trophoblast? What is inner cell mass contributing to? From where is the heart originating? From which layer? Ectoderm, endoderm, or mesoderm? So, unpredictable chapter. So I'm not predicting anything. Just if you have time, go through the entire chapters NCERT. Reproductive health, you know, one contraceptive, one ART. Two questions from the single chapter will definitely be asked. There is only confusion whether question will come from living world or not. Last year there was question, this year also there will be question because everybody will be studying that chapter. So they will definitely be forced. Genetics 1, that is the principles of inheritance and variation. Monohybrid, dihybrid, test cross ratio. Monohybrid 1:2:1, 3:1, important. 9:3:3:1, 1:2:1:2:4:2, 1:2:1 is very important. Test cross for monohybrid cross 1:1, for dihybrid cross 1:1:1:1. Okay. Blood groups, codominance, multiple allelism. Okay. Codominance, dominance, and multiple allelism, very important in case of blood group. Mendelian and chromosomal disorders. Guys, chances of pedigree analysis is very, very less. Even if something is asked, that would be a diagram from your NCERT. Two diagrams are given, just go by studying that. Okay, they won't ask you a long diagram in this easy examination. There are not 100% omitting the chances. There is a big chance because last year there were no diagram based question. Okay, next is the genetics 2. Polynucleotide chain, that is DNA, RNA, what are the bonds present in between them, glycosidic bond, phosphester, phosphodiester, all those things. Experiments related, transforming principle, semi-conservative replication model, lac operon, definitely question will come this year. Lac operon, important concept. Human Genome Project, DNA fingerprinting, chances are less, but question will definitely be prepared. There are chances of questions preparing from such area because they can ask, they can tell finally that NCERT based, but we were not able to solve. Why? Because we'll be omitting those parts, but we should focus on Human Genome Project and DNA fingerprinting as well. Evolution, I have taught a very good one-shot session on evolution, evidences of evolution, timelines at which year, 350 million years ago, what were formed, invertebrates were formed at which year, then seaweeds were formed, like that. Homologous, analogous organ examples. One question I'm expecting this year as well, because every year they focus on that. Human evolution, brain capacity is what we are expecting this year. Clear? Human health and disease, causative agent of all diseases. They'll definitely ask which of the following is a fungal disease, which of the following is fungal and all you'll easily identify. Bacterial, viral and all you won't be able to understand very easily. Then you have to study the specific disorders mentioned in your NCERT, that is malaria, AIDS, cancer. Then if for any disorder they are given you the specific bacterial organism or viral organism, study that. If any identifying test is also given, study that as well. Drugs area is also very important. Cannabinoids, opioids, hallucinogens, important. Strategies for enhancement in food production, animal breeding, outcrossing, inbreeding, crossbreeding, interspecific hybridization, important. All tables, Pizza Gaurav, mustard, then aphids, jacids, corn border, everything, every table with the symptom and resistant to what? Very important. Plant breeding sequence, collection of the parent, identifying them, then hybridization, selecting desirable characters. So that 5 different headings are given in your textbook. That's important. Microbes in human welfare is a very small chapter. 4 topics from household product, lab bacteria, bioactive cyclosporin, statin, streptokinase. Okay, which organism? Sewage treatment, about the anaerobic sludge digester. What is happening? Is it aerobic or anaerobic? Biocontrol agent, baculoviruses, nucleopolyhedrovirus, everything important. Biotechnology, recombinant DNA technology, selectable marker or recite. Endonucleases, gel electrophoresis, bioreactors, BT cotton, RNA, gene therapy from application. BT cotton, gene therapy, RNA interference, insulin synthesis. Question would definitely from BT cotton. Okay, or RNA. Don't giving a hope for you. Anyway, study everything. Recombinant DNA technology. Last year, 10 to 12 questions from biotechnology, 2 chapters only. So this year also, let it happen. Okay, because very easy chapter. Last and final unit, that is the ecology. Ecology is a final unit. That is a graphs. Different graphs are there. Study all the graphs. Attributes, population interaction. 6 population interaction are there, right? Predation, competition, parasitism, commensalism, amensalism. Ecological pyramid, nutrient cycling, GPP, NPP, decomposition, biodiversity. You have to study all the species counts. Graphs from all the chapter. Again, I am telling you, graphs from all the chapters, important. In situ, ex situ, what are the examples of in situ and ex situ conservation? Important. Biological magnification, BOD and pollutant and protocol like Montreal Protocol, Kyoto Protocol. Very important. So that's all about the different things which we have studied, right? We have studied a lot of things. What all are the do or die topics that you have to refer before you go for your NEET 2021. Living world, biological classification, plant kingdom, animal kingdom, morphology, anatomy, animal tissue, cell, biomolecule, cell cycle, transport, mineral nutrition, photosynthesis, respiration, plant growth and development, digestion and absorption, breathing and exchange of gases, biomolecule, cell cycle and cell division, body fluids and circulation, excretory products and their elimination, locomotion and movement, neural control, endocrine, reproduction, sexual reproduction, flowering plants, human reproduction, reproductive health, principles of inheritance, molecular base of inheritance, evolution, human health and disease, strategies for enhancement of food production, microbes in human welfare, biotechnology and ecology. Most important, 10 questions can come from this 4 chapters. Easy 4 chapters. Just 1 hour for 4 chapters you can complete. 15 minutes each is important. Don't sit and read the entire NCERT now. Now read only those portions which we have already highlighted or which you have highlighted in your previous reading. I'm sure there are at least out of 100%, there will be 50% of the students whose NCERT will there be at least 1 chapter which is not at all marked or highlighted. Okay. Marked or highlighted. So don't go behind that. Everything you have to study. So thank you, everybody. See you. I need you all guys to be always happy. Okay, always I need my Biopoint students to be happy like this. Okay, let's together crack NEET 2021. Thank you guys. Bye.